to you.
Good? Alright, hey everybody. My name is Chris and this is my 1991 Toyota Celsior. So if you don't know, this is basically an early 90s Lexus LS 400. This is the chassis code on this one in particular is UCF11. I know a lot of people think that it's like a black and white distinction between UCF10 is anything before 92, UCF11 is anything after. But at least the Japanese models, the distinction is the presence of air suspension, which this one does have. So one of the distinguishing features of the Celsior versus the Lexus on the front end here is single piece glass headlights. So the main beam and the fog light is all one piece as opposed to the Lexus where it was two separate pieces. This one has had the yellow glass pieces and the fog light taken out at some point. There's HIDs installed. I didn't do that. The car was like that when I got it. What else have we got? I also have I have these nifty power heated folding mirrors, which I don't think the American cars got. Basically, they sort of vibrate a little bit when you press a button in the driver's side. Just evidence of the car's time in Japan is a parking sticker from Yokohama. Is as much as I've been able to translate that. I was able to find out what dealership the car roughly came from. It was one of the Tokyo Toyota Pet dealerships in the Tokyo area, not the Yokohama area. But it seems like the car was serviced mostly in the Yokohama area Toyota dealerships. Nothing really around the back here that's different from your average LS 400. You know, there's a Toyota badge, it says Celsior on, but apart from that, nothing special. These the earlier models before the refresh in 1992 had these directional wheels, which are kind of a pain if you have to get them if you have to get the tires rotated. Like when I had tires put on the car about a month ago, and when I got the car back, they had, you know, some of the wheels were facing the wrong way, so I had to jack the car up and switch the wheels again. We can take a look at the interior as well. I'll open the door for you. I'll go around to the other side. So it's pretty standard in here for an LS 400. These floor mats are out of a later car. I think 98 to 2000. These floor mats were an option in the LS 400 and the Celsior in Japan. You couldn't get these floor mats on an LS 400. So in the center console here, everything is the same from here down. There's traction control switch here. If the car had heated seats, the switches would be here. There's this Japanese labeled button, which is also present in the LS 400. This is just a shift lockout. People ask me what this is. I've got air suspension, so I have controls for ride height, suspension stiffness, and all Celsiors and LS 400s have this. This is just a sort of a throttle mapping switch to you get a little bit more throttle response in power mode. What else? There's an aftermarket air suspension controller that was installed here, I think in 1993 by the previous owner, and a toll card reader for the Japanese toll system. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but the LS 400 and the Celsior both have this tiny little sunshade here, which it's useful very rarely. What else? If you come around to this side, I can show you some of the differences that my car has versus the LS 400. So as I mentioned before, the power folding mirrors and the heated vibrating mirrors are controlled here. This whole section looks a little bit different on the LS 400. I don't think the LS 400 had a coin slot, and actually mine has some Japanese change that I found in the car. So, you know, just some some neat little souvenirs. And also the car talks in Japanese when you start it. I think this is relatively common in cars that have these toll readers installed. Yeah, so it does that every time it starts, and it also has that cool sort of holographic effect on the instrument cluster, which is basically achieved by reflecting lights from the center here and the top down onto this angled piece of plastic, and everything in the car is in metric. So I have kilometers per hour, kilometers on my trip odometer, kilometers on my mechanical odometer. The air conditioning system is in Celsius here, so I've had that set to a nice 27.5 degrees. Around back in the back seat, there's not much different. This is a normal Celsior back seat. It's worth noting that my car does have the cloth seats. It was available on the LS400, but it was not common. I seem to remember hearing that there were 300 made with cloth seats, or at least that's all that anybody could figure out. They could reliably yeah, whatever. Yeah, and like I said, these floor mats are out of a later car, but they fit all right. The back ones are a bit tight, but they're a really interesting color combination. I saw them on Yahoo Auctions Japan and thought, you know, you don't really get an opportunity to buy floor mats that have pink stripes on them very often, so why not? Let's see, is there anything else? Just some of the things that I found in my car when I got it. This was wedged in between the driver's seat and the center console. This is a sort of little fan that was for a university near Tokyo. I'm not really sure why. You know, there's a lot about this car and its history that I probably can't understand just because I don't speak enough Japanese, or really any Japanese. And I can show you guys under the hood as well. It's a fairly stock, well, I say fairly stock, it's completely stock. Almost nothing on this car has been changed. You know, it's just had standard maintenance done throughout its life. So this is the first iteration of the Toyota 1UZ FE. It's a normal 4-liter Toyota dual overhead cam 32 valve V8. And if you're trying to follow along at home, this is one of the signs of air suspension, are these caps on the suspension towers that say air suspension on it, obviously. But if you're not sure if one that you're looking at has air suspension, just look for these if there's a shot of the engine bay, or like I said, the switches on the console. One of the things that I've noticed, the Celsior does not have the electric fans in front of the radiator here that the LS400 does, which is due to a difference in the engine fan itself, and this one is hydraulic. I'm not sure what it was on the LS400, but there's an additional fluid that you have to keep an eye on here. Also, this mystery fluid reservoir here is, the text reads, I believe, washer fluid, but I haven't been able to figure out what it goes to. I haven't put any fluid in it. The actual functioning washer fluid reservoir is here next to the battery, but yeah, I have no idea what the one in front is for. But I think that's about it. Do you have anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, kind of talk about what you found in the car. What else, like trunk wise?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll show you. Yeah, I can open up the trunk as well. I just pulled out that stuff back there, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so if I just move all of this camera equipment aside, I can move this cover back. Well, the first thing is over here, there's the the toolkit that was standard on the LS400 and the Celsior as well. And this one's missing a piece. I see it, most of the ones that I see are missing whatever was here. I've yet to figure out what it is or if it's useful. Then underneath the cover here was something that I found that I left it here just because I liked it. Is this map of Tokyo circa 1998. I think it has the date's in here somewhere, but I'm sure Tokyo is very different now. Not that I'd be able to tell. And also in here is the original spare tire, which is, I forget who made it, but it's very Japanese, you know. And this nice little warning reflector triangle in here, also very, very Japanese and JDM if that's what you prefer. And of course the 6 CD changer is back here, which mine did not have a cassette in it when I got it, but it's just a normal sort of Pioneer stereo cassette. So I have not added a line into this car. All of my music comes through CDs, and if you know about the Japanese radio standard, you know that the radio in this car only goes from what, like 70 to about 90. So all I can reliably get is my my local NPR station, which is, you know, that's enough for me. I got jazz, classical, maybe a bit of news if that's your preferred news source. But yeah, like I said, the only sticker that was on the car when I got it was this one. I'm not going to try to justify my stickers as being any kind of like modification, but you know, it is what it is.
You can kind of go over the quirks of having to have one of these insured.
Oh yeah, insurance can be a pain, but you know, you can go the route of having it insured as a classic, which is much easier than trying to get it insured as a daily. But this is my daily. I got it worked out. You know, I hear from some people that say that their agents were able to get them their Skylines or whatever added with little problems. And in my experience, I basically went down the list of every insurance provider in my area and was told no until I asked somebody that had one already. But yeah, and you know, a lot of people like to talk about what is it like to drive a car like this in the United States every day. You know, right-hand drive in a left-hand drive country. I really don't think it's that bad. You know, some of it's a little bit weird. You know, obviously the things that people say about, you know, having to go around on a 2-lane road, if you're having to pass like a large vehicle like a truck or whatever, that can get kind of sketchy. But you know, everyday driving, it's not that bad. I haven't had any problems with placing myself in the lane or anything like that. Honestly, the biggest problem that I see with driving this car is with left turns or right turns mostly. People love to say it's the left turns that'll kill you, but it's the right turns for me because, you know, the car is at an angle where you're a lot further back in the car than where you would be if you were on the left side when you're making a right turn. So I often find that I have to pull the car a lot more forward to be able to see what's coming. But you know, it's livable.
Is there any other challenges you found right-hand drive wise?
Toll booths. I'm not big on fast food, so that hasn't been an issue. But toll booths are a pain, and especially on these cars, the front glass blocks radio signals. So I can't use an easy pass mounted in the normal spot. Actually, you can see the toll transponder that I used to get here is actually on top of the sunroof cover in the sunroof there, which that ends up working out pretty well most of the time. But I find that I have to go a lot slower through toll booths to get it to read properly. But you know, it's a fantastic car. I mean, I really don't think you could ask for much more. I mean, except for maybe safety. You know, it's only got one airbag. The seat belts don't lock up if you pull on them hard, which I don't know, some people might prefer that. It doesn't bother me too much. You know, at the risk of sounding like one of those people that's like, oh, I won't, you know, I drive carefully, I won't have an accident, but, you know, it is what it is. It's worth it. It's worth it to me. I feel like the gap in safety features is you know, an acceptable risk. You know, I haven't had many accidents. I don't live in an area where accidents are a particular issue. You know, the traffic isn't that bad. But yeah, the only thing that I'd probably change about this car is the gas consumption is horrendous. I get well, I say horrendous. It's really not that bad for what it is. You know, a V8 from the early 1990s, developed in the late 80s. Most of these cars are getting, you know, 15, 14 miles a gallon. I get about 18 miles to the gallon. I mean, that is on premium though, and it's usually about 18 gallons when it goes in. So mostly I just feel lucky that gas is cheap right now. And it is sitting a little bit lower right now. I pulled the car down when I got here. So I can pull it back up for you and show you what it looks like when the air suspension is working. So yeah, I can already hear it coming up again. I'll stay quiet because you can sometimes hear the hear it releasing air. Yeah, so it'll do front and then back. Yeah, and I guess that's it. Seems like it's done. So it's not the fastest system. You know, if you've seen aftermarket air suspension, this is not that. It's not that fast, but you know, it gets the job done. I don't drive it around aired out. It's really not good for the suspension. And if you know about these cars, the air suspension is probably the most expensive thing you could have to fix on one of these. So I'm trying to keep it functioning as long as I can, and I hope to be able to replace it if it needs fixing. But you know, that's a pricey proposition, so it may end up on you know, standard shocks or possibly aftermarket coilovers just out of necessity.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me.